This is Wayne Gathers with the M.F.T. News. We are now going to present an exclusive interview with Marc Gathers. Marc is our current M.F.T. champion. He has an astonishing overall 5 championship victories, doing so with 4 consecutive wins, a feat no participant in M.F.T. has come close to accomplishing. This interview is in preparation of the next M.F.T. tournament, the Showdown, which will be held March 1st. 20 players have been chosen to battle it out for the opportunity to be officially crowned this year's champion. Let us now interview Marc on his rise to triumph, the M.F.T., along with comments about the M.F.T.'s fierce competitors. By the way, you won't want to miss what he has to say about his budding rivalry between himself and his one-time protégé, Baby. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Wayne Gathers. I'm here sitting with Marc, 5-time overall winner of M.F.T. Madden Football Tournament and reigning 4 consecutive championships. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
You know, we just finished our 12th season face-off, which you have now won the M.F.T. 4 straight times in a row. What an incredible feat. Tell us, how is it that you continue to keep winning?
I love Madden, so it's not a problem for me to practice and want to get better. I think one of the reasons why I've been able to win 4 times in a row is that people tend to, once they achieve a goal, they slack off, they get lackadaisical. And I've always said with me, the goal is bigger, so the work is harder. And since the Hall of Fame trophy was implemented into the tournament after season 8, I said that I wanted to grab it. And the Hall of Fame trophy is the first person to win 3 tournaments, not 3 in a row, just 3 tournaments to automatically put you in the Hall of Fame. And I said to myself, I'm going to win it. And I'm going to win it, and I'm going to do it in a great fashion. And I won it 3 straight years, and that's how I got the Hall of Fame trophy. And I just added up another one behind it. I'm just hungry. I'm inspired to be a very good or if not great player, and I love playing Madden.
Okay. Well, from my understanding, I heard that you weren't really happy with your performance. Why?
I gave myself a C-, and that's because I know and felt that I could be better. I could have played better. You know, I look back on it, and I made a lot of mistakes. Hindsight is always 20/20, but I realized it during the gameplay when I was playing that I felt like I held myself back because I played too careful and too cautious, too preservative. You know, I didn't let myself loose, and I could have been a lot more aggressive. There could have been my play calling could have been much better, and I just looked back at it and I kept saying, "Wow, I play better than this. I play better than this." And when I actually got a chance to look at the film, it just showed more that, you know, yeah, I was right. I rated myself a C-, so I'm just looking forward to the next tournament.
Wow, you know, I would figure that would be a strange grading of yourself. I mean, you got 4 consecutive championships to speak of your success, so it's hard for anybody to imagine you would grade yourself a C. Aren't you being a little too hard on yourself?
No, because I'm a perfectionist. I like to do anything that I'm doing to the best of my ability. And when you're actually playing and seeing the mistakes that you're making, that right there tells it all. So when I was playing, I just kept saying it over and over, like, "Marc, you holding yourself back. Why are you playing too cautious? I played too much to defend my crown rather than go out and have fun with it and do the things that I've been practicing and the knowledge that I already obtained playing the game of Madden.
Okay. Well, yeah, success will add on to one's pressure. But take us through a game. What is going on in your mind? What are your defensive and offensive schemes?
Um, when I'm playing against an opponent, I always have a game plan. Always. Anybody who sits next to me, I have a game plan. And the first thing that's going through my mind is executing the game plan. I already have a very good assessment of my opponent, and I'm able to anticipate, things that he's going to do because, of his tendencies. What I do is I look at a player's strengths and his weaknesses. I look at the team's strengths and the team's weaknesses, and I look for tendencies. And the first thing I do is I like to start off on defense, so I focus on that. I pride my game on defense. And what I like to do is set traps. That's what I do with my opponent. I like to set traps. Just being smart, being sharp, being witty. And it's Madden is chess. Madden is a game of chess. And I always say the smarter you are, the more knowledge you have about Madden, the easier the game is. And my goal is to just outthink my opponent, to utilize my team to the best of his abilities. And again, like I always say, I pride myself in defense. So my first thing going into a game is making sure that I'm committing to defense, and anything he tries to do, I'm going to take it away. Anything my opponent does well, I'm going to take that away from him. And then offensively, just to be smart, read the defense, know what's going to work and know what's not going to work, and then just breaking my opponent down minute by minute, quarter by quarter.
That's a good strategy, especially when you understand your opponent. But suppose if I'm new, I'm coming into the tournament, first year. Reputation is I'm a great player. Perhaps I have a good chance of taking the tournament, of winning. What is your game plan in that situation?
Well, my game plan to be for a new opponent is I would look at what team he's using, because obviously I don't know how he plays. I never played him, so I would look at the team he's using, and then from then I would know what to do against the opponent I'm playing against. Because I don't care what team you have, it has its strengths and it has its weaknesses. So what I like to do is I look at my opponent and I say that during the game you're able to tell if he likes to attack. If I'm playing against somebody who likes to attack, I force him to defend himself. If I'm playing against somebody who's cautious, I try to draw him into dangerous waters. I force him to be aggressive. If he's a thinker, I try to force him to be spontaneous. So I play him according to the way he's playing me. And that's how I play my opponent.
Wow, that's real good. Seems like you're all prepared. But as it currently stands, you are the most highly decorated champion in the history of the M.F.T. Who are some of the other good, talented players in the tournament?
One of my favorites that I like in the tournament, I like David. David's a very good player, and I know one of these days that he's gonna win a championship. I could foresee him winning a championship. I'm definitely have to give him credit because he's a good player, and of course I don't see no one beating me, but once I step aside or retire, I definitely can see him getting one. He's one that comes to mind. Alex is another good one. He's very good. Alex is tough. Gunther is like a pit bull. He's gonna fight, and he's another good player. Baby, he's been to 2 final appearances. He's another good player. Brandon is also very good. He's very solid. He's a good player. Seems to have a pretty good understanding of the game. But that's just to name a few. There's a lot more. There's definitely a lot more. But that's just to name a few.
You seem to have a great understanding of the game as well as your opponents. But what are some weaknesses you see in the players you are facing as well as the competitors in the M.F.T?
One of the weaknesses I see in a lot of players in a tournament is the ability to read a defense. I watch players pick plays that they played against previous opponents and they just think that automatically it's going to work. And the ability to know how to read a defense is very important. Those are details that I see people don't pay attention to. So I look at those as weaknesses. Because I always say that the more knowledge you have about the game, the easier the game is. So when I watch players just pick a play and it just gets a line of scrimmage, don't even slide protection with their line and just call hike, that's a weakness. I also watch on the defensive end, players, their only defensive scheme is to blitz. They feel that blitzing is the only way that they could stop an opponent. Their whole defensive scheme is to blitz. They see a bunch of red arrows pointed toward a quarterback and they feel, okay, that's my defense. That's how I'm going to stop him. I'm going to get a sack. And if you're playing against anybody who knows how to read a defense, you can, it's in my honest opinion, reading a blitz is the easiest defense to read. It's very easy. It's certain things that you automatically look for, that you automatically see, and you can read a blitz. So if you know how to read a defense, and you know how, and you notice that your opponent's blitzing, and you know how to work against a blitz, what to do against a blitz, you can just destroy your opponent just by doing that. Because a blitz play, there's nothing wrong with blitzing, actually. I'm not going to say that there's anything wrong with it. But when that's your whole defensive mind structure, your defensive scheme, that's a problem. Because that should never just be it. Because then what do you have to fall back on? You still got to deal with players getting fatigued, players getting tired, the stamina, stuff like that. And a blitz, yeah, it's high risk, high reward, yeah, because you can sack a quarterback and push him 6, 7, 8 yards back, or if a player's running the football, you can tackle him behind the line of scrimmage. But one thing about a blitz is that if you miss, that's potential for an easy touchdown. So that's what I noticed. And then another weakness that I see, in my honest opinion, I believe this is a weakness, what I see in players. When they have to resort to looking on the bottom of the screen to see what opponent play he picked. We call that screen watching. That's when you look at the bottom of the screen to see what your opponent is picking. If you're playing against somebody who's playing right next to you, you can look at the bottom of the screen, or you can actually look to the left or to the right and see what play a person is going to pick. In my honest opinion, the reason why I say that's a weakness is because if that's what you got to resort to, that tells me you're not a good player. No good player should have to resort to screen watching. If you know how to play, you pick plays based on tendencies and based on anticipation. So if you're able to anticipate what he's going to do, you should know, and if you know how to play, you should know what plays to pick. There's plays that's geared to stop the run. There's plays that's geared to stop the pass, and there's plays that you can pick that's good for the pass and the run. And you just look at the downs and distance and where opponent is at, and you can just pick your plays from there. So when you playing against somebody who has resort to those tactics, that's a weakness. That is a weakness.
Okay. You mentioned some names earlier. So let's play this game. This game called name calling. I'll name a person, and I'll ask you to briefly tell me something about them. Let's start with Frankie.
Frankie has won a Madden tournament before, but he hasn't. As of late, he's really hit rock bottom, and I think he's going to find some way to crawl himself out of where he's at. But right now, he's just not playing well. I think he needs to pick himself up, and that starts with his confidence. That's the first thing he's got to find a way to pick himself up. the second thing he's going to have to do is he's really going to have to put the time and work in, because he does have a good team. The good thing that he can bank on is that he did win a championship before, and he put the work in, and you've seen the results. He's got to go back to the drawing board, find himself, get a hold of his team, and come back and play.
That's interesting. Mike
is good. Mike is good. He's a very solid opponent. I don't know if he's as good as he makes himself out to be. He looks at himself as an elite player, but I think there's certain things that he results to that I would not say he's an elite player because of the things he results to, but he's a good player. He's a very good player in this M.F.T. tournament. He's a good player, period. He's going to take on all challenges, so he's a tough competitor, and that's pretty much where I'm at with him.
Okay. What about Matt?
Matt is one of the surprises in the tournament. He's better than what a lot of people thought. I watched him get better from last year, which was his first year in the tournament, to this year. He's gotten better. I look at Matt as a gamer. Matt is someone who doesn't watch football, doesn't really play Madden. He started playing Madden once he got to the tournament, but he picked up on the game. He picked up on, the basics and the concept of the game, and he's a gamer. He's one of the people I would look at as honorable mention or something like that. It's one of those players that you don't look at as an elite player, but he's definitely not a bad player either. He's somebody that you got to keep your eye on.
Honorable mention. That's a perfect term for it. Alex.
Alex is we call Alex the silent assassin. Alex is quiet, doesn't say much. He's starting to be more vocal now, which is good. But he definitely could play. Tough competitor, and Alex he's definitely one of the better players in the tournament. He's another one who's good.
Okay. Gunther he's tough. He really is tough. Very tough. He reps the Giants as tough as he can, and I think with him, he's starting to really put the work in, and being at the tournament is in his house, and being that his wife is his biggest supporter, his cheerleader, so he's gonna bring it. I mean, I watched him in the tournament being down and fight back and win. I watched him in a tough game grind out. He's gonna beat it to the end. He's definitely gonna fight. He's another one of the better players in the tournament. Okay. David,
yeah. Like I said about David, I like David. David is tough. He's good. I think the thing with David is that once he stamps himself with a team, meaning this is his team, because I think in this tournament also he's changed his team. I watched him in the first year in the M.F.T. tournament. He represented the Eagles. Then in this last tournament, he represented the Redskins. Now in this tournament, I believe he's going to be using the Chiefs. So the thing with David that he has to do is he got to build up chemistry with a team, and he has to stamp himself with a team. Like, this is going to be my team from now on. Once he does that and continues to practice, I can see him, like I said, winning the championship.
Okay. Victor
is also another good player. I don't think it really got to show how good he is. Like, he'll always get past the first round. This is now the Showdown coming up will be our third season, and the first 2 years he's been in the tournament, he's got past the first round. He looked pretty good doing it too, especially this last tournament. He put the hammer down on his opponent. I'm even gonna say his name, but we all know who it is. But he really showed something in that first round. But then I think what happens is he runs into me. 2 straight years he ran into me. So, and I've been the one to like wipe him out. But it's interesting to see what happens if he doesn't run into me. It's very interesting. But he's a good player. He's definitely good.
Okay,
Brandon is good. Very good. Very, very good. He's a newcomer into the tournament. He definitely can play. He doesn't talk much, doesn't say much, but his game doesn't talk in form. He's another one. Definitely another one.
Okay, Julio.
He's trying. He's still got ways to go. First year in the tournament. He did get past the first round, but he played against somebody who, really doesn't play Madden, know how to play. So he did what he's supposed to do. The good thing about him is that I think he's sticking to a team, and he's going to be practicing more. So he'll be okay. He'll be okay. He still has a lot of work ahead of him, but he's definitely going to try.
Okay, JJ.
He represents the Seattle Seahawks. The interesting thing about him and his gameplay is that his gameplay is similar. It fits Seattle. It fits the team that he's using. But he still doesn't have the knowledge yet to how to really use them. Once he does, he's going to take off. He's another one of the talked about people in the tournament who can play that people don't really talk too much about though. But he's another opponent that you got to keep your eyes on. He's up and coming.
Okay, Danny.
Danny was the first one to ever win an M.F.T. tournament. He's good, but I actually feel like Danny fell to like the middle of the pile. He's no longer one of the best, and I think one of the reasons why is because he's been in and out of the tournament, especially the last 4 years. In the beginning, he was always in the tournament. Then he wasn't in the tournament for a while. Then the last four tournaments, he's been in 2 of them. So he doesn't have a feel for the tournament, and he doesn't have a feel for who his competition is. And since then, the tournament has grown. Not only has it grown, but the competition has gotten better and better each year. And he's been bumped out in the first rounds. He's been bumped out. So, but it's not like he's losing to people who can't play. He's losing to some of the best players like Alex David. It's just when you don't have a feel for your opponent, you don't know who you're playing against. You're playing against a good player. He's losing to them. He's not getting blown out or nothing. He's playing a tough game, but he's losing. But truthfully, he's in the middle of the pile. He's not one of the best players, and he got to work his way back to that spot. So that's how I feel about Danny. He's a good player, but this tournament has gotten a whole lot better since he's left.
Wow. I had one last opponent that I wanted to name, but before I do that, because the previous opponents that we've talked about, and I know you have all the confidence in the world, and your trophies testify to that, but do you ever feel that perhaps maybe someday, these guys are going to get good? Because they're gunning for you. Mm-hmm. And someday they're going to dethrone you. You ever worry about that?
No, I don't. Reason why I don't worry about that is like this. When you're practicing, truthfully, I recognize that these guys are good players. I don't underestimate them. That's one of the reasons why I continue to practice. They keep me on my toes. And plus, again, they're practicing and, okay, they may be getting better, or they are getting better. I'm practicing, and I'm already good, and I'm continuing to get better. Mm-hmm. So what's supposed to happen? They supposed to get better and my game's supposed to decline? No, I'm continuing to work too. So I don't look at it as, well, they're going to get better, and I don't look at it that way. I look at it as, Mark, go out and do what you got to do. This tournament is mine to win or lose. That's how I truly feel. It's up to me.
You know, it's kind of interesting because it's almost like fictional to the fastest gunner in the West. And he reigns for so long until one day there's somebody who's perhaps a little faster, a little bit more engaging, a little bit more challenging. And with that, a little bit more of a threat. Because you know what? Each great player, or each great competitor, there's always an enemy. I once heard a person say, I don't care how nice you are, there's always somebody who can give you problems. It's like being the kryptonite to Superman. How do you define that?
I look at it like this. Throughout my 4 straight years of winning the Madden tournament, it's not like I had a great game every person I played. Alex was one of my toughest opponents, and then this last tournament was Gunther. Gunther was very, very tough. Between the two, Alex was the toughest offensively. I had problems, stopping him, containing him. And Gunther was the toughest defensively. I had some problems moving the ball against him. So it wasn't like every game was easy. There was definitely some tough games in there. As far as in the Superman and Kryptonite, I don't get caught up in that. I don't worry about losing or this guy comes. Of course, there's going to be people. Somebody comes along and who's going to give you problems or who could beat you, whatever the case is. But it's a thing of rising back up. It's a thing of where you're at, maintaining your level of play, your consistency of play, and continuing to grow and get better. I truly believe this, that what you put in is what you get out. And if a player comes along that just so happens to be better than me, then I'm gonna learn from that. I'm gonna learn from it. I'm gonna acknowledge that he's beaten me, and I'm gonna work. And if there's a player who I know that I'm better than, but he beats me, okay, I'll acknowledge it, but I'm continuing to work. I'm continuing to get better. But it doesn't mean that just because he beat me, he's better than me. It doesn't necessarily mean that. He just had a good game. He just played better that day or that game. And I'm just going to continue to work. I'm going to continue to work, continue to get better, continue to improve at this game.
The reason why I asked that question, because remember earlier in our interview, you've graded yourself a C. And you acknowledge your opponent. You said, wow, they're getting better. Mm-hmm. There was one opponent you spoke very highly of. Mm-hmm. It was Victor. Mm-hmm. And he smashed his competitor. You didn't even want to mention my name. And so that's why, I tend to harp on that a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Here's a guy who won 4 championships, but you have given yourself a C-. It's like, wow. Some people may look at it as a sort of a little weakness in confidence, being that you acknowledge this on the interview. And there's going to be people that's going to look at this. And I know they're going to critique every word. And they're going to also look for weaknesses in Marc Gathers too. And that's why I mentioned that question. But there's another name, Baby. What about Baby?
He's a good player. He's a tough competitor. He has a very high competitive spirit, and he loves Madden as well. He loves the game. He's a good player.
Okay. In fact, let's go a little bit more into Baby. He has made the finals, his second finals appearance in 4 years in the M.F.T. You guys had an intense stare down. Talk to me about that moment and the championship game, because it seemed to get a little personal.
Yeah, during the stare down, it's funny because during the stare down, I felt like he was trying to stick his little chest out. He wanted to stick his chest out, and I wasn't looking at him. I was looking right through him, because my thing is this. He made it to the finals, and okay, good for you. But he said something that raised my eyebrows up. Not only my eyebrows up, but also the people who I played against. He said that, and I quote his words, that he thinks people go into the games in fear of feeling that they're already going to lose. I didn't sense that. I'm not too sure from Julio, but this was his first year in the tournament, and he was learning the game, so he might have been nervous playing up against me. But Gunther, I didn't see that from. Actually, Victor was trash talking me before our game. Actually, Gunther was looking forward to us playing. And those two put up a better... It was tougher against them than it was him. Now, the scores may not show that. Our scores may not show that, okay. Our scores may show that, okay, I only won 17-0 against Baby. And Gunther, I won 27-7, and I believe Victor was 34-6, something like that. But in all truthness, the game that I had against Baby was much simple. It was very simple. And one of the reasons why I was looking through him, because I was saying to myself, you're here because of me. You validate the point that I made when I said the rap/poem, still number one, when I said, what do you think makes up for this matter? A decisive beating. I was talking about all the previous opponents who I clearly blown out. And when I said, or very clear teaching, I'm talking about him. He's the one who I've given knowledge to about this game of Madden. And in all truth and honesty, if it wasn't for me, he would not be the player that he is today. And to take it a step further, he really was supposed to have been suspended for this tournament. I allowed him to be into the tournament. So when I'm looking at him, I'm saying to myself, just be glad you're here. Just be glad that you're here to share this stage with me. Because I don't care how much you think you've gotten better, you've been practicing, you're not going to beat me. This is my time. This is my time. And just enjoy your second place prize, because that's what you're going to get. I was looking through him because I said to myself, I know everything you're going to try to do. But guess what? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You're a good player. I'm happy for you. But this is my time. And that's why I was looking through him. And then to speak about the game, when I played him in the, I think it was the 1st and 10 tournament, the same game plan I had for him in the 1st and 10 tournament is the same game plan I had for him in this tournament, face-off. Same game plan. I didn't change anything. Same game plan. Because I was saying to him, to myself, I was speaking this out loud to myself, saying to myself, if you supposedly got better, let me see it. Because the same game plan I have for you in another Madden game, and a whole year later, let's see if you've improved since then. Because I'm going to play you the same way. I didn't change anything. I didn't see any improvements. The only improvements I seen in him was the knowledge that I gave him. So I'm looking at him like, you said you got better. And then the game was kind of funny because he was trash talking. He's trash talking me. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, you didn't trash talk when you was playing against Mike. You wasn't trash talking him. You wasn't trash talk when you played against Alex. You wasn't trash talking when you played against David. But you decide to, now that you're in the finals, you want to stick your little chest out and trash talk me? Really? So I'm looking at him like, really? You're going to sit here and trash talk? To myself, I'm laughing because I'm saying to myself, I see through you. What you're trying to do is you're trying to be confident. You're trying to say, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be this. I'm going to go out and play him. And I'm saying to myself, baby, it's not about being afraid. I don't care if you're afraid of me or not. Because I always said this. I always state this. I love when somebody tells me that they're not afraid of me. Why I say that? Because if I ever ask you to challenge me, you should have no problem accepting it. Why? Because you're not afraid of me. So play me. This is not about being afraid of one another. This is about you put your skills, I put my skills, and we see who's better. And that's what this is all about. So he was trash talking, and I'm looking at him like, wow. So, during the game, it was really like, I raised my eyebrows up because I'm sitting here like, okay, I really took it as he's not giving me the respect that I felt that I deserved. Like, I'm saying to myself, you know what it is already. You really? So I'm playing, and then the game was very simple. I didn't change up anything. My game plan was to take my time, make him waste time trying to score while I take my time to score. Because I noticed playing with him is that when you keep the game at a certain pace and when you limit his possessions, he can't play that way. He can't play that way. So it wasn't about me putting up a lot of points. It was just about me making him waste time trying to score, and I take my time to score, but also limit his possessions because he can't get in a rhythm. That's one of the many weaknesses that he has. I could have played him another way, but that's one way of just saying, okay, if you got better, I'm going to do the same game plan I did on you before. Let's see what adjustments you can make. And he couldn't do it.
It sounds personal let's say as a fan or competitor between you two. I mean, technically, you can't read the next person's heart or mind. I'm saying this in a general statement. Perhaps there are some competitors that may enter with fear, thinking that they have already lost to you. And so he seemed to just make a general statement. At least it appeared that way on the surface. But it seemed to be something a little bit more concerning that fallout. Tell us, what happened with that, if you care to elaborate?
We did have a fallout. It wasn't in the tournament. It was the fallout happened after it happened right after the 1st and 10 tournament. It happened right after that 1st and 10 tournament. He had made it to the finals. We played in the finals, and I beat him. And I noticed since then that it was a change in him. He began to be cocky. He began to be real cocky. Now, I started seeing signs in the Welcome to the Terror Dome tournament. I started seeing signs. When I first worked with Baby, this was right after the Survivor of the Fittest tournament. I started working with him. He was a spectator, someone who just, one of the people who was watching the tournament. He was there watching the tournament, and he heard that I know how to play Madden very well, and also taught his brother. So he came to me several times and asked me, Mark, could I teach him how to play Madden? Now, at first, the reason why I didn't respond, because I was like, well, I wasn't too sure about allowing very young people to be in the tournament. Because I believe at the time he was 12 or 13 or something like that. So I really wasn't sure about allowing young people in the tournament. But then, because I know his brother, and his brother's in the tournament, and he is a very good kid. I allowed that. I said, all right, he can be in the tournament. And then he asked me about me training him. So I did that. And I began working with him in October, the end of October of 2011 it was. I began working with him. And I spent a lot of time. I mean, when he first came to me and asked me to teach him how to play Madden, that's exactly what I did. When I first got him, he didn't know how to play Madden at all. I mean, at all. I really had to start with ground zero with him. So I picked out his team for him and everything. I showed him how to play the game of Madden, and we even had things where I wrote things on paper for him to take home and study and learn. Or I wrote things down for him, and he'd take it home. And I trained him to a point where I put a lot of time and energy into him. It was the one time where my wife was present when I was training him, and she was telling me after he had left, she's like, Mark, I think you was being too hard on him today. And I said, no, I'm not. It's just that there's simple things that I've taught him that he's forgotten. So I spoke a little stern with him, not yelling or disrespecting him, but I spoke with him a little bit stern to drill it in his head, because there were certain things that he was forgetting, the basic things, and I was sitting here really working with him. So that shows the effort and the energy that I put into him. But to make a long story short, in that situation, during the Welcome to the Terror Dome tournament, I noticed that was his first tournament he entered in, and he lost in the first round, but he gained respect even in losing, because he lost to one of the better players in the tournament, and he played very well. So he gained a lot of respect. But I noticed when I was playing, he was rooting against me. Now, mind you, I didn't get mad. I noticed it. I was like, oh, wow, okay. I noticed everybody who I was playing against, he was rooting for them to win. Now, the reason why I didn't get mad or say anything like that, because first of all, you have every right to cheer and boo whoever you want to. So you have that right. But I noticed it was more like, I felt like he had a plan. He wanted me to train him so that he could win a trophy. It's almost like he was using me for his benefit. He figured if I lose, it'd be much easier for him to grab the trophy. So that's why he was rooting against me. So I started noticing it then. But it is what it is. It didn't stop me from wanting to helping him and continuing to help him. After the tournament and stuff like that, I still continued to work with him. And this happened from once the Welcome to the First and 10 tournament. I mean, the Welcome to the Terror Dome tournament was over with, and then we went to the First and 10 tournament. But going into that tournament, he didn't own Madden, and I helped him to get the game for a cheap price. And I continued to work with him. I continued working with him, continued encouraging him. It didn't change anything from me saying, even though you're rooting against me, I trained you, why are you rooting against me? No, because I did it from my heart. So I'd still continue to work with him and help him. And then once the First and 10 tournament was over with, that's when the change happened. Me and him met in the finals and I beat him. That's when the change started happening. That's when I saw it even more. Now, it got to a point where it was disrespecting taking place. And I was like, wow, that's what this came to. And that's when I really started to see that it's like he used me for his benefit. He was more happy that, because again, you dealing with someone who's, again, young. And he's not a bad person at all. Let me go on record by saying he is not a bad person at all. He actually really is a good person. But I really believe the hype and everybody talking about, oh, wow, baby's good, that it got to him. And I really believe that he started to envy me because I have what he wants. He wants a trophy. And he looks at it as, Mark is in my way. But in all actual reality, he shouldn't look at it as Mark is in his way. No, I created a way for you. If it weren't for me, this is facts, he would not be the player that he is today. He would not. He has to understand something. This is who taught him. This right here. 5 times overall. This is who poured energy, knowledge, gave a strategy guidebook to, poured knowledge into to talk with him. So, but then when the disrespecting came, I was like, wow. I said, you know what? The best way for me to handle the situation is pull him to the side and talk to him. Tell him that, listen, you're young and, disrespect can't be. And he was supposed to have been suspended for the tournament, but I allowed him to still participate in it. And because I didn't want to punish him because of something that I felt that his mindset, his youth and his ignorance, him no knowledge of that stuff, whatever the case is. But I really felt like he used me for his benefit, and that's basically what happened. So that was our fallout, but it is what it is. You live and you learn, and you just move forward.
Well, I can assure you that he's not the only one that envies you. Because there's a good envy and there's a bad envy. The envy that you spoke about between you and baby. What's your relationship like today?
It's not, again, baby is not a bad person at all. I don't think he's a bad kid at all. I actually think he's a good kid. He's very competitive. He wants to win. And it's good, but do I still feel like he envies me? Yeah. I still feel like he envies me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's this thing of, he's blinded by his own ambitions. He's blinded by it. He just sees a trophy and I want a trophy. And I just feel like it's more with him that he looks at it like I'm in his way.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't realize that, no, I created a way for you to one day be able to get a trophy. It's just, I truly believe that this is my time. I say he's blinded by his own ambitions because I think in his mind he felt, I'm gonna use Mark to train me, and I'm gonna get good, and then I'm gonna win a trophy. I'm gonna take him out, or somebody. I really felt that was a situation, and again, I just want to sit down over here and also mention that he's not disrespectful or anything like that in the tournament. He's never been disrespectful. He's actually came around to help out and stuff like that, and help set up the tournament and different things of that nature. And he loves the tournament. He loves Madden and different things of that nature. So, he has the attitude that he wants the Madden tournament to continue, and he's happy with it, and he's glad, and he's very thankful to me and my wife for creating this. It's just, I always say that competition brings the worst out of people.
I just want to mention this because you said that he's not disrespectful to the tournament. Mm-hmm. But you mentioned earlier he was disrespectful. Mm-hmm. Was he disrespectful to you?
Yeah, he said something that was very disrespectful. I don't want to put it out there.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to be clear. I just wanted our audience to be clear on that. Mm-hmm. So as a result of his the character defect, is he a good competitor? Is he a good player?
Yeah, he's a good player. He shows good sportsmanship. Like, he'll say, okay, good game, and he'll give players their credit, different things of that nature. But behind closed doors, I'm sure he's pissed. Any competitor will be pissed when they lose, whatever. It's just,
Yeah, it's just the nature of wanting to compete and win.
Yeah.
So as a result of all this, I have to ask this additional question. Let's say I'm a new kid on the block, and I quite don't know how to play Madden football. Would you train me in spite of all that has happened between you and baby?
I don't have a problem giving anybody hints and tips and working with them. If I look at it from both points of view. Truthfully speaking, as a commissioner and as a competitor in a tournament, I'm really not supposed to be training anybody. That's your job to get better, not me to sit. We're all going after a prize. That's not my job to train you. What I do from my heart. So if a person really doesn't appreciate it, then that's on them. And even with the situation with baby, I've always downplayed it. I even told him, I remember me pulling him aside and telling him that I told him this, I said, when people start finding out, if they start finding out that I trained you, just tell them that I taught you the basics. Because I don't want people to get the idea that, okay, Mark is, playing favorites, anything like that. But he didn't know anything about Madden, and since I love to coach and love to teach, I did that. But I also downplayed it because I didn't want people saying to him, oh, the only reason why you're good because Mark taught you. Because then your attitude could shift and change on me. Then you start feeling in your head, well, to prove to people that I know how to play, I'm just going to beat Mark. I'm going to beat him. Mm-hmm. Then your attitude starts changing towards me. So I always downplayed it, but in all truthness, no, I taught him how to play. Everything he knows, he learns from me. Everything. But to answer your question, I I wouldn't go that far into helping, giving someone hints and tips. I don't mind giving a person hints and tips and stuff like that, but it's definitely going to be more on the basics. The rest you get on your own. I don't mind to put out little things, this, that, and the third, and stuff like that, because I actually have a thinking about putting out a video on hints, tips, and tricks.
Okay.
So that's going to be for everybody. And if you appreciate it, great. If you don't, great. That just shows the flaws in your own character. So for me, I'm not worried about it.
Okay. Well, I hope that things do get better between you two. But let's change the subject. Let's talk about the M.F.T. It's now heading into its 13th season.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been going?
It's been going great. The tournament is very... First of all, I want to take this time and acknowledge and thank God for being behind this tournament, because I watch Him open doors, and I'm around a bunch of great group of people. And I want to thank my wife for really helping me with this tournament, and Gunther and his wife opened up their doors and allowing us to have this tournament in a place where we needed to have it at. This is a friendly, competitive tournament, and they let me know that, yeah, that this is their house, but Mark, you're in charge of the tournament, and we like what you got going on. And that the tournament's been growing every year. It's been getting bigger and better with the competition, the food. I'm around a bunch of great people, and when we look forward to having something twice a year where we get together. It's something we look forward to. We get together and compete and have fun. There's no the thing I love about this tournament is it's not no tournament where you got to deal with the profanity, language, and things that the outside world do, like cursing and all this other stuff, and drinking, and nah, this is not the time or place for that stuff. It's just something we really look forward to.
Yeah, I can see that you benefited on a personal level besides a competitive level.
Mm-hmm.
Now for the question that everybody wants to know, and perhaps they've been talking about it for quite some time to themselves. Are you going to retire or sit out of the M.F.T?
Eventually, I see myself doing so, but not for this tournament. I'm in. After the tournament was over with, I think I just acted on everything that was going on, and I said I was going to retire. But then I looked at my performance, and then I looked at everything, and I was like, Mark, you love the game too much. It's not a good idea for you to leave right now. And I said I'm gonna play. I told myself, I said I'm gonna play again. But eventually, yeah, I do see myself just hosting, but not right now.
During the time when you said that, I take it that this was public that you mentioned.
Yeah, it was right after the tournament, after I won a championship.
How did your competitors feel about that?
I think some of them was happy. I think it was a few like, I want them to stay because I want to try to beat them. But I think a lot of people was happy.
True competitors do want to compete against the best to beat the best. But then again, it was about a family-oriented thing. You had fun, so I can imagine perhaps some people didn't want to see you go. Now that we have the answer to the $1 million question, what is it exactly that you feel you have to prove, especially at this point?
What I have to prove is that, in the sense that I'm a great player or one of the best or the best, I don't have anything to prove in that area. For me, this is more personal. When I first I mentioned to a couple of people that I was going to win 3 in a row. I had a statement for each situation. I said the first one I'm going to win, I'm going to do that for me. Mm-hmm. The second one I said I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for you guys. The haters and the competitors, the competition, the tournament. And the third one I'm going to do it for the cause. I did it. The fourth one, I did it for the love of Madden. This fifth one that I'm looking to do it, I'm looking to do that just because. And the reason why I state the word just because I want it solidified. I want it stamped. I want it no inch of a doubt that I am the best player in this tournament.
What is it that you feel you add by remaining with the M.F.T?
I force people to recognize that you're in a tournament. Just Mark representing the Pittsburgh Steelers, it forces people to know that this is a tournament. Mark, he lives this by example. He's the one that you say to yourself, you know what, I gotta go practice. I see what he's about, and I want to get it. I force people to say that, you know what, if I'm going to win a championship, I see what Mark has done, and he's a good example. And if I win a championship, I got to put the work in. I think in this tournament, I'm the bad guy. And everyone loves a bad guy. I don't mind playing that role. So it's like, I embrace the role. And you got to have somebody that you're striving to beat and to do better than. I'm that person. I'm that person that makes people say, you know what? I have to go practice. I'm one of the people in the tournament, because there are other good players in this tournament. And them seeing me in the tournament, it just solidifies it like, yo, there's some good players in this tournament, and I got to go practice. It takes the tournament to another level by me being in it. Because again, it's just like you said, if you're a real, true competitor, you're a really true competitor, you don't sit here and say, good, I'm glad he's leaving, because I want to get a chance to get a trophy. You want to beat the best. You want to beat the best. So you're like, and I'm sure of this. I step out the tournament and a person wins, of course they're going to feel like, yeah, I'm a champion. I won. But I guarantee you there are going to be some people, or even in the back of his mind, if somebody says, well, yeah, but Mark wasn't there. Yeah. What can you say? Yeah. What can you say? You didn't beat the best to get a championship. Any true competitor wants to beat the best, wants to play against the best.
That's right. And in all good fun, it's like an asterisk next to a person's trophy when they don't go against the best. But you know, our vibes tell us something a little bit more about you. You play with an edge, you're focused, you're driven, you're determined, you have a passion for the game. Where does that come from?
That came from me as soon as I was playing sports. Very competitive, wanting to be good, very good or great at what I do. Not being complacent. All the things that I've been through in this tournament. I go back to humble beginnings when I used to got bumped in the first. I used to get bumped in the first round when this tournament first started. My history is not. My history, if you look at my history and the journey that I had in this tournament, you will see that it's like I really feel like I was destined to do this. My first 2 years in the tournament, I got bumped in the first round. Third year, I won. But when I won, you got somebody, and I'm going to call this person's name out, Danny, who basically challenged me, who basically told me, well, the only reason why you didn't win because I didn't play against him. Now, this just goes back to saying playing against competition. He was in a tournament, but he lost to somebody who I beat in the finals. But his thing was, well, the only reason why you won because you didn't beat me. My thing was, whose fault was that? You lost the person who I beat. But I said to myself, I didn't like it that I won, but it still was looked at like, yeah, are you really a champion? So I challenged him in the next tournament in the first round. And I remember, if anybody knows anything about, I think it was Madden 11, the game he was playing, with Larry Fitzgerald and Troy Palmer on the cover. We had a very strong defensive game. And I should have won that game. And everybody was anticipating the game. hostile environment. I had a chance to win the game in overtime. And I remember me kicking a 30-yard field goal kick. Anybody knows anything about that Madden? I think it was the Madden with Larry Fitzgerald and Troy Palmer on the cover. They showed up the angle. When you kicking the field goal, they show the camera in a certain view. As you're kicking the field goal, then the angle changes. We all knew that, we all saw, everybody was in the house who watched the tournament saw the field goal, the ball going in. All of a sudden, it just mysteriously said it missed. Besides myself, everybody in the house was surprised. He winds up kicking a 61-yard field goal kick. He wins. So I win my third year, losing the first round my fourth year. I'm about to go back to the finals in our fifth year, but we never got a chance to finish the tournament. Technical difficulties. That's when we used to play online. Problems with the server, so we never even got a chance to finish that tournament. Season 6, I lose to George in the finals. I'm not even going to go about how and what happened. I'm trying to cut to the chase. So season 6, I lose in the finals. Season 7, I lose to Gio in the finals. 4 seconds on the clock. Again, I don't even want to go into what happened on that. I was winning. He threw some Hail Mary pass, to make a long story short. He threw some Hail Mary pass. Everybody was back there. He jumps for the ball. His guys still catch the ball. He really landed out of bounds, but you can't challenge a play. He wins. So I lose season 7 in the finals. Season 8, I lose in the first round to somebody who I always beat it. My mind, I don't want to use no excuses, but my mind was elsewhere because I almost got into an altercation with somebody right before I played. And I lost to this guy in the first round. Somebody who always dominate. So this is my journey. So then season 9 comes up. I said, Mark, I'm tired of going through this. There's always seemed to be some stumbling block in the road. I remember to continue practicing and practicing. I said, I'm not even going to put myself through this no more. Mark, just go out and dominate this thing. Leave no doubt. This is the results of it.
Wow. Okay, so now that we're in season 13 of the M.F.T., which will take place Saturday, March 1st, and it's entitled The Showdown, I want to ask you this question as a commissioner. What do you expect and hope for in this event?
As a commissioner, I want to see more people challenging one another and see people continue to practice and get better in the game, and the tournament continue to grow. There's some challenges that have been thrown out there, and I'm hoping for the sake of the tournament that those guys accept it, because I think it's good for the tournament. One of the matches that I'm looking forward to is I hope that, because JJ wasn't in the last tournament, he had other engagements to take care of, but it was a highly anticipated match between JJ and Victor. So I want to see those two guys play against each other. This tournament, Julio called out Frankie, and I really think that Frankie should accept that challenge. I think it's good on his part to say, you know what, shall he win, this is a good way for him to make a stand, for him to make start taking his steps. Because you got someone fresh coming into the tournament looking at him who's a veteran in the tournament like he's a stepping stone. And I think Frankie should accept that challenge. Julio's going to be practicing, and I'm sure Frankie's going to be practicing too, so I would like to see that. But another matchup that I would love to see is us, Baby and Mike. I truly think that those guys should play again. That's the grudge match, because in face off in in this last tournament that just took place, Baby won. The previous tournament, Mike won. Now, it's funny because if you look at the tournament, if you look at everything, when when Mike had beat Baby, he made it to the finals. And then when Baby beat Mike, he wound up making it to the finals. It's funny, and one of the reasons why I think that Baby should accept that challenge, because Mike wants to play him again, is because I know personally how disappointed Baby was losing to him. I know personally because he spoke to me about it. Mike didn't have to give him that a rematch. Mike could have said, "Listen, I beat you without my team, and I'm looking forward to bigger and better things. I really want to play Mark." He didn't have to set that challenge. He allowed Baby to redeem it, try to redeem himself. So he accepted it. So I think it's only right that, okay, he beat you, you beat him, and now you have to decide this grudge match. Because he accepted yours. So I would love to see that matchup.
The tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
So as a commissioner, what are the ultimate goals for M.F.T?
Is to hopefully get a sponsor. I would like to get a sponsor. I think that we deserve it. I think that we represent we have a great homemade tournament. I use the word we because it's not just me helping, and I would like to see we stand on the principles of fellowship, happiness, fun, love, competing, and enjoying ourselves, eating and just having a good time. And I think our tournament is unique in that sense because of what it stands on and what it stands for. And I would love for these guys to be able to get the game free when the teams that they represent to have the own official jerseys and the hat, and to have a day where we fellowship and eat and just eat whatever we ask for to be on the menu, and we just compete and have fun. And that's the ultimate goal. I look at it as we're in a win-win situation, because if we get sponsored, great, we're able to take the tournament to the next level. If we're not able to get sponsored, we still have a great tournament that we're continuing to build and we continue to have. So we're in a win-win situation. But that's the ultimate goal.
Wow, that sounds very exciting. So tell us, from what I heard, new people seem to enter into the tournament every year, which also contributes to its growth. I mean, you're going on your 13th season. How can a new person who's watching this interview enter into the M.F.T?
Well, first of all, you got to know what we stand for. We don't deal with nonsense. We don't deal with it. We don't allow things that you might do in your everyday life, your profanity, your language. We're not saying that you got to be Christian. But if you have Christian morals, it's a plus. If you understand what we're about, that we're about competing and having a good time and fun, friendly competition, then yeah. Because the thing is, we don't just invite anybody in the tournament who just says, "I know how to play Madden." Because there's going to be people who see this video and see the trophies and, "Oh, who's this guy?" And people want to enter the tournament because of what they see here. "Oh, I want to play that guy. He thinks he's good, or he's a good player." A lot of good players always want to play against good players. And I don't have a problem with someone wanting to challenge me. Just know what we stand for and know what we're about. And, you know, we have our rules, but the tournament also has its rules. And those rules are to help benefit the tournament. And we all respect one another. So, is there trash talking? Yeah, but it's respectful. We ain't talking smack and stuff like that. We're not disrespecting one another. We're not cursing one another, and you know. So that's what the tournament is about. It's about M.F.T, Man Football Tournament. M.F.T, Men Form Together. Just that's how you could if you feel that you fit that criteria, you fit that mold, you fit that character, personality, this is for you. If you know you don't, you one of them dudes who, and yo man, this ain't for you. This is not for you.
Yeah. And that's how sometimes a good thing goes sour. Because as it grows, and if it does reach your ultimate goal and being sponsored, it's almost like the saying, more money, more problems. But as a situation grows, then that's where the problems come in at, because we forget about those rules. We forget about those the criteria that have kept the tournament going. And I hope you do reach it. But please tell me, what is your definition of a champion?
A champion is not just somebody who wins a prize. That's not the only thing a champion is. A champion is a warrior. A champion is someone who's willing to take on and accept any challenge and represent and rise to that occasion. A champion isn't just defined by his victories. He's defined by his inner character and what he stands for and what he does, what he brings and what he's about. You have to have that championship heart. You gotta have that heart. You gotta, because there's some people who just, in my honest opinion, I don't think they're really worthy of being champions because they don't put enough of the work in. You got to be wanting to stay on top of your game, and no one's sitting here telling you to put your whole life in the Madden or put your whole life in anything you're doing to try to achieve something, to win a trophy or a prize. But you got to represent. When the lights is on, it's time to perform. You got to be ready. You got to be ready to step up. When players sit on them two chairs in front of that TV and the crowd's behind them, we call it the hot seat. You have to be ready to play. So a champion just has to be a person who's going to define that look. You got to have that look, that eye of the tiger, that I am what I say I am.
Just to add on to what you said earlier concerning your definition of a champion, you mentioned it too, and we just want to re-emphasize for this interview. It's one who has the moral character. It shows in everything that he does. And sometimes the moral character, that's when the intellect comes into play. I mean, a knucklehead, you may have achieved something, but obviously, it's short-lived. Because champions fall hard when they don't have the moral character.
And just to add to that, I think I want to say this also. It also shows something. It also shows something with me because I've been able to do it more than once. I think a true champion is somebody who does it multiple times. Even if it's not back to back, you're in discussions each year for being able to win.
Yeah. So before we close with this interview, the floor is yours. Is there anything else you care to share with us, address, or get off your chest?
Yeah. Again, let me start again by saying thank you, God, for making all this possible. Thank you to my wife, Christine. You've been a blessing in my life and in this tournament. For every good thing that's happened to the tournament and bad, it's helped the tournament to be in shape to where it's at today. I think Gunther and his wife opening their doors. I think anybody who's helped donate and contribute to the tournament. Philip Robinson for the help that you've been doing with the editing, and hopefully we can have a better relationship working with each other. And just again, what I want to add and say is that I truly believe that everything I've went through in the tournament helped shape me to be the 4-time champion, 5 overall. From stuff I've been through in the first 2 years being bumped in the first round to even the things I've been through with baby, that motivates me. Any negative thing I go through motivates me. Any positive thing I go through motivates me. This ain't no fluke. This is not no fluke. I believe me doing it 4 years straight shows something. Like, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play my butt off. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna continue to respect my opponents and know that they're good and not underestimate them. And I'm gonna continue to get better. And all I say is I really hope y'all ready. I hope y'all ready, because I know I am. And anybody, and I say this, anybody who wants it can get it. Anybody. I truly believe I'm going to win this again. I truly believe that. I believe that in my heart, mind, and spirit, I'm going to win this mad tournament again. Why I believe that? Because that's just the confidence that I have in myself, and the knowledge I have of the game, and the work that I put into this game. I know what it takes. And I know where I came from. And it's the reason why I've been able to dominate. And I'm going to continue to dominate. And I stand by this. I said this before. I truly feel like this tournament is mine to either win or lose. If I'm focused, engaged, I'm concentrating, everything takes over. Because I know how to play Madden. I don't just play Madden. It's the difference between playing Madden and knowing how to play Madden. I know how to play Madden. And Saturday, March 1st, the Showdown, like I said, either it's going to be a showdown, and I hope you show up. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.